focus on organizing among the working class of our people. And what does that mean, though? Because I see in a lot of the comments that we on shows that we do, it's mostly on the Remix Morning Show, with some people who have now just kind of finally openly admitted that they don't want to organize because they feel like if they join organizations, then they're going to be targeted by the state. You're going to be targeted by the state anyway. I mean, I don't even understand that argument, but that's what I saw. And I was just like, someone would literally commented, this is why I don't want to join an organization, because you're going to get targeted by the state. Like, okay. But then the state is going to target you because of who you are anyway. So if you join an organization, if you are organized, at least you are fighting the state collectively. At least you are not out there alone. So that led me to thinking about labor organizing among the Black working class, and that actually lead me to kind of think about the fact that when most people in this country say working class, they do not think of Black people. And I think that is very true. And I think it's something that we don't consider, that when a lot of people who are not Black talk about working class organizing or working class in any context, they're generally not talking about Black people. And that's for a lot of historical reasons. That's for a lot of bias reasons. And those reasons do factor into the way we are left out of some working class that's supposed to be working class organizing in this country, that's supposed to be left. But it also kind of informs the way we see ourselves in organizing. And I think that's very interesting. And, not only did I think it was interesting, but somebody else thought it was so interesting, this idea that in this country, working class for a lot of people means white, that they wrote a book about it. So this new book is, let me increase that for you. This new book is written by a lady named Blair L.M. Kelly, who explores an overlooked history, and that is what it means to be a Black worker in the time since slavery. And I know The Atlantic is a liberalish publication, and I know Ibram X. Kendi has his issues, but this book is very interesting, and I'm going to get it. And I didn't know that this book was even published. And this article was just published in The Atlantic on August 7th. So this is a new book. And the name of the book is Black Folk, The Roots of the Black Working Class. And this author, Blair L.M. Kelly, who was telling the story about her family's working class history, expanded it to make the point that Black people are more likely to be working class than white people are. And that is just the material fact of the condition of Black people in this country. So we really have to begin this effort of deconstructing this myth of what the working class in this country is. And I think this book might be a good start. So in this interview, that's what this article is, an interview that Ibram X. Kendi does with the author of this book, Blair Kelly. It said that she opens up our minds to Black workers, narrating their complex lives over 200 years of American history. Kelly looks at the history of her own working class ancestors, as well as the laundresses, Pullman porters, domestic maids, and postal workers who make up the world of Black labor. I said I was going to move this over here, didn't I? So it would stop looking so weird. Their joys, their skills, their challenges. She also offers historical context. And this is the important part of this book, I think. for the racist ideas about Black workers that endure in our time, while highlighting the ways that Black labor organizing has always helped to fight back against bigotry. And this is a very good section of this article that speaks to how we misunderstand what working class is, and the nexus between class and race in this country. So the article says that myths about race and class continue to dominate our political discourse. For a start, it is a myth that Americans without college degrees are by definition working class. Accumulated or inherited wealth is a more accurate indicator of class status than education or salary, particularly amid an enormous racial wealth gap in the United States. With levels of Black households whose members have a college degree are similar to those of white households whose members don't have a high school diploma. And those white high school dropouts have higher home ownership rates than Black college graduates. Even if we're measuring working class status by college degree attainment, the article says, white Americans at 50.2% are far and away more likely than Black Americans at 34.2%, and Latino Americans at 27.8%, and Native Americans at 25.4% to have a college degree. Therefore, not be working class by this inadequate measure of just not having a college degree. It is also a myth that the white working class is synonymous it is also a myth that the white working class is synonymous with supporters of Donald Trump, as Kelly points out in her book Black Folk. In fact, and this is something that we had argued throughout the entire January 6th phenomenon, Trump's base remains more affluent than is popularly portrayed. It's not necessarily a question of Trump voters needing to be educated. Kelly told me this is what Kendi is saying when we spoke recently. It's a set of choices that people are making about their place in the world and what makes them feel verified and validated. Very, very interesting stuff. And I think I highlighted something else in the, yes. This is what Kelly says about this question Kendi wrote, asked of her. He said, you write that when Black workers are mentioned at all in this country now, the very idea of work is dropped entirely. And instead, they are described as the poor and often implied to be unworthy and unproductive. This is an echo of the characterization of enslaved Black people as lazy and unmotivated. And you wrote this in the opening pages of the book to really set the stage for a larger argument. What was that larger argument? And Kelly's response is, I think there is an incredible mislogic around the Black working class, one born in slavery. I put a quote from Thomas Jefferson about him observing Black people and writing in his notes on the state of Virginia that they, the enslaved, slept a lot. And I'm like, sir, as you sit in your chair and somebody fans you and brings you your food, who are you calling lazy? And so that stereotype and its afterlife in our contemporary thinking is a confounding one to me, she says. It's one I really wanted to confront and unpack and pull the thread of throughout the text, because Black workers' contribution to this country are enormous. So calling Black folks lazy or just the poor misunderstands what we've done and how we think of ourselves.